And she's this year's 14. Would you please welcome from the Philippines, it's Alex.
Billion-Dollar Rejection Alex Eala turns down a Saudi fortune in just 20 seconds to chase glory. Welcome back to tennis, the heartbeat of the tennis world, and before we drop one of the biggest bombshells in the history of women's sports, we need to pause and say thank you for helping us reach 1,000 subscribers, 1,000 people who live and breathe every serve, volley, and drop shot with us. If you're new here, you picked the wildest possible day to join, because what you're about to hear will change how you see tennis forever. News is shaking the very foundations of the WTA, involving money so massive it makes football contracts look like pocket change. At the center of it all is a 20-year-old from the Philippines, Alex Eala, the pride of Manila who learned the game on public courts while battling rain and traffic noise, and who has just walked away from the most outrageous offer in sports history. Standing before a literal mountain of gold, she said no, and her reason might just restore your faith in what athletes can truly be. Picture a private meeting room in Dubai, with velvet walls, gold leaf ceilings, and ice-cold air conditioning that screams luxury, where a Saudi billionaire who buys football clubs for fun sits across from her only to be stunned by her decision. On one side of the room sits a Saudi billionaire, a man who buys islands because he's bored. On the other side is Alexandra Eala, the pride of the Philippines, fresh off a plane with a racket bag still slung over her shoulder. What was supposed to be a routine sponsorship discussion quickly turned into something entirely different. According to leaks flooding the tennis underground, this meeting was no ordinary negotiation, it was essentially a hostile takeover of talent. The billionaire reportedly dropped to his knees, literally, pleading with Eala to become the face, the queen, of a breakaway tennis league. Imagine what happened with LIV Golf, but cranked up to 11, they wanted to build an entire tennis empire around a 20-year-old who hasn't even won a Grand Slam yet. That alone shows the sheer magnitude of their belief in her star power. And the offer? Brace yourself, $1 billion upfront, plus $600 million per year for 10 years. That's not just wealth, that's generational, small country-level wealth. And it didn't end there. The leaked contract reportedly included her own private Alexandra Desert Tennis Arena, a sprawling complex designed solely for her training. The offer included indoor courts replicating every surface grass, clay, and hard court, a private jet with gold-plated interiors to shuttle her family around the world, and the centerpiece, the Arabian Diamond Tennis Championship, an annual event where she would be the permanent headliner competing for a $150 million prize pool. They even proposed building a fully funded tennis academy in the Philippines under her name to train the next generation. On the surface, it seemed impossible to refuse, but there was a catch. She would have to leave the WTA entirely. No more Wimbledon traditions, no more grueling qualifiers in the rain, no more clay battles at Roland Garros, no more Australian Open sunrises. Instead, it would be a life of luxury exhibitions, playing against other defectors or retired legends coaxed back into stadiums, effectively making her the puppet queen of a new desert dynasty. The stadium they envisioned would be built from oil money, with every seat costing $1,000 and champagne flowing like water. The room fell completely silent. The billionaire waited for the expected yes. Who in their right mind says no to $6 billion? Alexandria did. Witnesses say it took her exactly 20 seconds. She didn't glance at the check or the concept art for the gold-plated jet. She looked him straight in the eye, stood up, and delivered a monologue already becoming legendary. She reportedly said, "My legacy isn't for sale. I don't play for diamonds. I play for history. I play for the little girl in Quezon City who picks up a racket and dreams of winning a Grand Slam, not a bank transfer." She made it clear that her dream wasn't built in boardrooms, but on the courts of Wimbledon, on the clay of Paris, and on the blue hard courts of Melbourne. She reminded him that Filipino athletes have always had to fight for every opportunity, and she was no different. She knew she would have to work harder, travel further, and prove more than anyone else, and that taking the easy road would betray every single person who had believed in her. So she walked out, leaving $6 billion on a mahogany table, and returned to her hotel to pack for a flight to New Zealand. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why the tennis world is in awe today. In an era when athletes chase the biggest paychecks, when loyalty is measured in zeros on a contract, and when players jump leagues for fractions of what Eala was offered, she chose the grind. She chose the glory. She chose the legacy. And right now, she is proving that she made the right choice. While billionaires cry in their palaces, Alex Eala is conquering the real world. Immediately after that historic rejection, she flew to Auckland for the ASB Classic and played like a woman possessed. She wasn't playing for money, she was playing with the fire of someone who knows exactly who she is. Every forehand was a statement, every service game a declaration, telling the world she didn't need their billions because she was already rich in purpose, passion, and determination. Eala showcased something money could never buy: pure, undiluted talent. She smashed her way into the semi-finals, taking down Poland's Magdala Linette in the quarterfinals in straight sets, a masterclass in aggressive baseline tennis. Linette, ranked in the top 40 and a player who has taken sets off the very best, had no answers. Eala painted lines and corners, mixing pace and spin like a maestro conducting a symphony. Next, she faced Donna Vake, a Wimbledon semi-finalist and Olympic silver medalist, a veteran who never blinks under pressure. Eala sent her packing. The match crackled with electricity as Vake threw everything at her: power, placement, and experience, but Eala absorbed it all and returned it with interest. When the final point landed and Eala raised her arms in victory, it was more than a win, it was a prophecy fulfilled. Although her run was ultimately halted by China's Wang Senu in the semi-finals, the statement was made. Wang, a top 50 player herself, had been knocking on the elite's door for months, and yet Eala pushed her to the limit. More importantly, she proved she belongs in that conversation. The latest WTA rankings confirmed it. For the first time in her career, Alexandra Eala has officially entered the top 50. Alexandra Eala has risen to world number 49. This isn't a gift, and it isn't a wild card, it's earned. Every point, every drop of sweat, every sleepless night on the tour, every cheap hotel room, every injury she pushed through, all led to this moment. She has broken through the barrier that has held back so many hopefuls. The top 50 is where the tour gets real, where you earn direct entry into Grand Slams, where sponsors start calling, and where respect is no longer given, it is assumed. Eala now lives in that space. She is the highest-ranked Filipino player in history, venturing into waters uncharted by her countrymen. The Philippines has produced great athletes, boxers who become senators, basketball players worshipped like gods, but tennis has always been the sport of the privileged, the elite, the ones with access. And Eala is rewriting that narrative. Tennis has often felt inaccessible, but Eala is changing that. She is living proof that a girl from a middle-class family, training on public courts, can stand toe-to-toe with the daughters of Russian oligarchs and American tennis dynasties. Her results in Auckland didn't just earn her ranking points, they gave her validation. They proved that you don't need a golden parachute when you have wings of your own. But her story doesn't end there. The Australian Open looms on the horizon like a storm, and Eala is preparing in the most prestigious way possible. She has touched down in Melbourne for the Kwong Classic, a tournament that is far more than a warm-up. Kwong is the spiritual home of Australian tennis, where the Australian Open was once held before moving to Melbourne Park. It is hallowed ground, an invitational you can only enter if you matter, and Eala was invited. Standing shoulder to shoulder with legends, she is now one of only 4 women granted that honor, signaling just how much the tennis world recognizes her talent and presence. Eala has been invited to this exclusive event starting Tuesday, January 14th, where she will once again share the court with Donna Vake. Sparks are sure to fly, as Vake will be seeking revenge for her loss in Auckland. The rematch promises to be must-watch tennis. Vake is a proud competitor who doesn't take defeats lightly, and she'll be coming for blood. But Eala has already beaten her once, and confidence is a powerful ally. She will also face Australia's own Priscilla Hahn, who will have the home crowd roaring in support. Hahn is a gritty fighter, relentless on every point, and playing in front of her fans at the iconic Kwong Classic will give her an emotional lift. This tournament will test Eala's mental toughness, her ability to handle hostile crowds, and the pressure of partisan atmospheres. And in a twist of nostalgia that only tennis can deliver, Eala will also face Daniela Hanachova, the Slovakian legend. The 42-year-old former tour player and mixed doubles Grand Slam champion is dusting off her racket to challenge the new generation. The symbolism is powerful: a veteran who has seen it all, competed against the Williams sisters at their peak, and mastered every trick and angle, versus a 20-year-old prodigy who just turned down a billion-dollar offer, standing on the same grass. It is the past meeting the future. Hanachova brings wisdom and guile. Eala brings hunger and fire. This exhibition at the Kwong Lawn Tennis Club, running from January 14th to 16th, serves as Eala's final tune-up, where she sharpens the weapons she will carry into the Australian Open main draw starting Sunday, January 12th. The Australian Open is where dreams are made or shattered, the first Grand Slam of the year, famously called the Happy Slam, played under the blazing Australian summer sun where temperatures can reach 40 degrees Celsius, making the court feel like hot coals. The Australian Open is brutal, unforgiving, and exactly where Eala has a legitimate chance to make a deep run. At world number 49, she'll be seeded, which means she avoids the absolute killers in the first round. She has a realistic path to the third or fourth round. And if she gets hot, if the draw opens up, who knows? We've seen teenagers and 20-somethings catch fire and ride the momentum all the way to the semi-finals. The world is watching, and the pressure has never been higher. But if we learned anything from that meeting room in Dubai, it's that pressure doesn't crack Alexandra, it makes her stronger. She turned down the easy, golden road to walk the hard, dusty path to greatness. Now, sitting at world number 49 with the Australian Open on the horizon, with the entire Philippines behind her and every little girl who has ever picked up a racket watching, she looks unstoppable. And this isn't just about one player, it's about the soul of tennis. The sport is at a crossroads. On one side are the traditionalists, those who cherish the majesty of Wimbledon's grass, the romance of Roland Garros, and the electric energy of the US Open. On the other are the money men, the disruptors, who want to lock the best players behind paywalls and turn tennis into a series of exhibitions for the ultra-rich. We've seen it in golf. LIV Golf, backed by Saudi money, ripped the PGA Tour apart. Players who swore they'd never leave took the checks and ran, legends selling their legacies for generational wealth. Now the same forces are circling tennis. But tennis is different, it has a soul and a history spanning over a century. The Grand Slams aren't just tournaments, they are institutions. Wimbledon, in particular, is British tradition incarnate. Wimbledon is royalty, strawberries, and cream. The French Open is Parisian elegance and red clay poetry. The US Open is New York grit and late-night madness. The Australian Open is sun-soaked joy and the party atmosphere of Melbourne. You can't replicate that, and you can't buy it. Alexandra Eala understands this. She knows that winning Wimbledon means more than any check ever could. She knows that having her name engraved on the trophy at Roland Garros is immortality, while being the queen of a desert exhibition would be just a footnote. And she's not alone. Whispers suggest other top players have been approached with similar offers. Some have said yes, others are considering it. But Eala's rejection has sent shockwaves through the locker room. She has become a symbol, the player who stood up and said no, inspiring others to do the same. The WTA is rallying behind her, tournament organizers are praising her, fans are calling her a hero, and she's not even 21 yet. Think about what she's already accomplished. Junior Grand Slam titles, a meteoric rise on the tour, and now a fearless stand that defines her legacy. She has dominated the ITF circuit, climbed the WTA rankings faster than almost anyone expected, and represented the Philippines with pride and passion. And now, she has turned down the biggest offer in sports history because she believes in something bigger than herself. That is the kind of story that transcends tennis, the kind that makes global headlines, the kind that little girls will one day tell their daughters about. So, let me ask you, would you have taken the money? Would you have accepted the $1 billion and the gold-plated jet? Would you have chosen financial security for your entire family, for generations to come, or would you have done what Alex did, looking at that check and saying, "My dream is bigger than this"? Let me know in the comments, because this debate is going to ignite the internet. Personally, I think most people would have taken the money, and there's no judgment in that. $1 billion is life-changing, world-changing. It's the kind of wealth that solves every problem you've ever had and every problem you might face. But Alexandra Eala isn't most people. She's special. She's wired differently. She has a fire inside that money cannot extinguish, and a dream that drives her beyond any price tag. Mansions and yachts can't fulfill what she wants. Alexandra Eala wants to be the best, not the richest, not the most famous, but the best. And the only way to achieve that is by beating the best on the biggest stages, under the brightest lights. The beautiful irony is that by saying no to the money, she may end up earning even more in the long run. If she wins a Grand Slam or breaks into the top 10, endorsement deals from Nike, Adidas, Rolex, Mercedes, and every major brand will far surpass that Saudi offer. Not just because of her talent, but because she has proven integrity she cannot be bought. In a world where loyalty often feels transactional, that is priceless. That is a brand that transcends sport. If you love tennis, if you love passion, and if you believe some things are worth more than money, share this story. Spread it to every tennis fan you know, post it on Instagram, tweet it, send it to your group chats. This is the story that defines a generation of tennis and proves athletes can still be heroes. Don't forget to subscribe to Champions Tennis. We're on the road to 5,000 subscribers, bringing you the news no one else dares to cover. Because when Alexandra Eala steps onto the blue courts of Melbourne, in front of 15,000 screaming fans, she won't just be playing for herself. She'll be playing for every child who has ever dreamed big, for every person who has chosen the hard road over the easy one, and for all of us who still believe that glory matters more than gold. Game, set, match.